Welcome back, everybody, to a Sha'ir's poem. This is chapter 5. We pick up this evening, moments after Tirak and Zama leave the polytheistic shrine in the outer harbor village of Sultaj. You guys are stepping out onto the rough flag roadway there that's tamped down hard earth with some well-worn flags. You have the sea, the tropical night sea air coming to you, the sounds of the foreigners, the white skinned, black-haired foreigners of this strange alien city called Felport, singing, making merry, drinking, and playing music on alien stringed instruments. You stand there trying to shake off that the rest of whatever that dread from that horrid augury, from that blind, maimed, old, filthy hag, that sea hag that essentially accosted you with an augury that she thought you needed to see or needed to hear. Her being was saturated. She stank with some kind of magic and whatever awful. She clearly hasn't bathed. But there is a lingering. You feel watched. There's something here, but your bodily eyes, your eyes see just a kind of a calm. It's actually a beautiful evening out. There's a light breeze. It's actually pleasantly warm. Zama takes out his opium pipe, and he takes in a deep breath as he breathes that nice air, and he goes, "Oh, it's actually quite a lovely evening for it." He lights up his opium pipe and takes a hit. He watches the tide roll in. There is just a sliver less of a gibbous moon, and he looks at you. He turns a little bit more so his good eye can actually see. He's fucking eye patch.
It's like, as Zama says, it's a good night. Tarak will like look at him, and he'll look up at the sky. He'll see the moon, the sliver there, and he'd be like, "Yeah, it's a night."
What that hag want with you?
She gave me an augury. It was weird.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Like I don't want to be on the streets anymore. Weird.
Oh. It's that weird.
Yeah.
Well, then let's go home then.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole time, like he's looking up, but then he's like looking around, like as much as the light can help. Tarak isn't necessarily twitchy at this point, but he's definitely like, let's go. I wanna get back to the ship.
Assassins should not be twitchy at all.
No, they should not. This is not a good feel for Tarak right now.
Maybe a young assassin, maybe.
Yeah, right.
Zama says, "Well, you lead the way. I'll walk behind you. Right. No one's going to come upon your back while I'm here."
I appreciate. Though he will like give a backwards glance at Zama, like as he says that.
He's fucking spooky. You're not quite sure if you can entirely trust him beyond the ship and his duties.
Exactly.
But he does have this. He has a very intimidating body language.
Right. Well, because if
But
I'm
the way he speaks to you and his tone, he's a pretty all right guy. He
right.
just looks fucking scary.
Well, it's just also because I'm trying to remember most of the augury. Part of it did mention looking behind me as well as in front. So in the back of his mind, he's like, all right. But then yeah, he'll go forward again and he'll basically make a beeline back to the docks. As essentially a quick and efficient of a route as he can without meeting up any of the carousing bands.
Okay.
He is very much a man on a mission to get back to the safety of the ship.
Y'all who are on the ship, if anyone who is watching, you'll see them coming up the pier. They've got it on our way back. You'll have to snake your way through a few crowds that are out like night walking, but it's a pretty despite the terror of sorcery here, it's a very beautiful evening. There's a hole in the world now because that hag fucking ruined a perfectly good night.
Right? He probably would have enjoyed himself, but now he's got that nagging in the back of his head.
Oh yeah, no, fuck her. It's something about something in the water that's gonna come and eat some people that you can't stop. And that's that. I was like, how about that? Thank you, Grandma. Thank you.
Which especially once like he remembered that point, he remembers in the sargassum.
Yeah.
Right after they left, there's like there's a big ass shadow.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So yeah, at the ship is he'll probably see myself, Binya Thud, up at the on the rails there, just surveying the shore, looking for them. Obviously, probably sitting there having a. Well, Manzu's probably sitting there having a pipe himself. I'm willing to bet at this point because he's been chomping the bit to get off the boat.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
He's looking for bodies out in that crowd. He was like, no, that's not them. That's not them. No, that's not them either. So, Tarak, would you just describe your character for us? I'll describe Zama and Manzu when you guys are finished.
Tarak is a Yethite. Stands about 5'7", 5'8". He's kind of weather beaten since the trip across the waters. It was his first ship, first boat ride, so to speak. So he's a little bit more disheveled, a little bit more unkempt than he probably normally would be. Just getting used to everything. He has very little facial hair, though it is kind of getting stubbled out. Just because of the time on the sea, and he did not trust himself to shave on that boat. He was figuring he more likely to cut himself than to actually shave it back down. So he would actually probably tonight he's actually gonna go in and properly clean himself up. Besides that, his clothes are very dark. He is made to blend in. His eyes right now might glow in some of the passing light and would almost have that look of like honey or just pools of like almost chocolate because his eyes go between like a brown and a hazily type of color. Besides that, he's see if I can actually get this done correctly. He's dressed in basically like loose clothing, but efficient clothing. He's not one for lavish or one for anything extra or, hey, I know who that is because he had X clothing on. Tarak tends to avoid those at all costs because the less that know who he is, the less work he has to do unless he's being paid for it.
Less distinct, nondescript clothing.
Yes, that's what I was thinking of. Thank you. Words were just leaving me at the moment. But yeah, so that's him. His hair is also probably we were on the sea for what was it?
4.5 months.
4.5 months, yeah. So his hair likewise is probably, a little bit longer, a little bit shaggier, but usually he keeps it pretty close cut. But yeah, but like I said, he's probably gonna get himself cleaned up tonight because he's gonna, after he gets back on ship and back at home, he's gonna be like, I am a mess. we need to fix this. But yeah, that is Turok in a nutshell.
All right, Ben, take it away.
So as Ben stands there on the railing, you can see his already dark complexion that of a typical Thoranean is possibly even a bit more sun darkened than normal because of him having been on the sea the past several chains. His eyes are bright, but they're dark of pupil, and his face is covered now with effectively a full beard of black hair, almost midnight black. His tunic is a patched affair at this point. A bit of different colors of cloth here and there, almost to the point to make it a motley, because of all the holes that had to be darned up on the thing. And him basically just grabbing whatever cloth he happened to have lying about, or the edge of a spare tunic or whatnot. But that tunic is belted with a fairly well done elephant hide belt, and his at his hip is his copper curved short blade, not ostentatious like some might have seen to think of being almost piratical, but a fairly basic hilt and pommel bone. As he looks out over the crowds, he is a bit anxious because he's heard tales now of these white devils possibly taking men to man their oars, and he's truly fearful that Turok and Zama, Turok being probably the only person in this world he actually trusts, and Zama being a very skilled seaman who he's beginning to trust, though with some trepidation, being two strapping young lads might be fine fodder for such a party. And also he's worried about his men, who are getting a little restless, wanting to go to shore, having been at sea for as long as they have. He stands there next to the elder Manzu, who is probably hitting his pipe as we speak.
And he is Manzu has lit up his opium pipe, and in his old age, he doesn't require as much opium, say, as a younger man would be in need of fiendish delights. Manzu is 72 cycles old. Now, he on the ship, She Who Runs Before the Waves, serves as the quartermaster, and he's kind of become the crew's granddad. He's almost older than everyone combined, it seems. It's in Manzu's walk and how he holds himself, there are many lifetimes of experience there. You guys actually don't really know much about Manzu, to be perfectly honest. But you know that he is a very very work oriented old gent. He has a saber of bronze hanging from his hilt, from his hip. He wears a scarlet and kind of a taupe woven sash that could possibly have been more piratical in days long past, but now it's more conservatively wrapped around his belt, around his waist. He has a dark brown tunic that has a kind of an emerald and yellow trim there that kind of gives like the feeling of the image of seaweed or sunlight on the waves. It's a kind of a swirl and a wavy pattern there. he's a very organized individual, and he is not afraid of telling the young bucks around the ship that you're doing something wrong there, and there's a more efficient way of doing this. More or less, he's not pushy about it, but he will do the granddad, you're doing that wrong. Just give that here and let me see it. Let me watch me now, and he will instruct. Zama, who stalks through the street behind Tarak, is a 36 cycle old Yathite that, despite the Yath propensity to grow very patchy beards, he's clearly not a pureblood of his mainland race. His amber eyes kind of burn like coals. Well, the remaining eye, he had lost his left eye some cycles past, but he rarely wears a scarf over that eye and just leaves it like black and open, which is ghastly and horrible. But when he's off ship and out in public, he'll wear a kind of a blue lavender silk band over it that's got some fish embroidered upon it. He has the artisanal tattoos of a shipwright on his left forearm. Beyond that, the things that you know about Zama is, besides his profession as a shipwright, he's an opium fiend. He could possibly have eluded to some piracy in a previous position, but you still don't know that about him. But beyond that, he's got a ghastly back alley, almost like a gutter fighter type walk to him, and no one has ever seen Zama sleep, which freaks a lot of the other crew out, as the captain's mate and officer of the night watch. He kind of runs the ship with a little bit more spooky in the way he does things when everyone else is asleep. But we rejoin our companions on the ship. We walk up the gangplank, and we are now topside, and Manzu simply looks at Ben and says, and now we're leaving.
I'd like to leave at least a couple of men on the ship to keep an eye on it. I'll stay behind. Tarak, do you want to go or stay?
I'm staying here.
Okay. Zama?
I will babysit the rest of the boys with Manzu, and we'll probably be back sometime later.
Okay. All right. Remember, keep the boys together. Don't let them wander off on their own. Of course, you know that. But enjoy and have fun. Oh, by the way, has the merchant come and retrieved his goods yet?
Oh, they left 2 hours ago.
Okay. So, all right. I'll let the men know that the rest of their pay will be waiting for them in the morning.
A couple of them are kind of wanting to spend their money before they leave, but Manzu just glares at them, and they all shut up real quick.
Yeah, they each have their first silver, of course. I already given them that. So
Manzu gives them the don't spend all of your money in one place talk as they're all leaving the ship, the way a granddad would. But no, Manzu he walks down the plank with the swagger that an elderly pirate would have, and which kind of leaves you with thoughts of like, he and I gotta talk later, because he walks like he is he owns this place, and he's got 6 or 8 They're it's a young puppies following him. So they're you hope they're in good hands.
Okay. So, well, I am going to sit back and pull a barrel over to the edge where I can sit on it and have myself a bit of a drink of whatever we happen to have on ship, which probably isn't very much of anything.
No,
Yeah,
you're gonna have to use your money to resupply tomorrow.
yeah, I know. So, but sit back and get ready and sort of, keep an eye on this place. I mean, how much of the dock can I see from where we're at? Is it like an open dock all the way down, with the frontages on one side and ships on the other, or is it sort of meandering?
It's almost kind of like spider webby.
Okay.
In a way, there's docks that go out into it's not organized. This place has clearly been inhabited for possibly many thousand cycles, that has been abandoned, rebuilt, destroyed, attacked, abandoned over and over and over again by multiple different cultures over the many centuries and lifetimes. So you'll see beyond, because you guys are in where would be like the outer village dock harbor type area. Beyond that kind of goes up into the hinterlands of the island of Siltage. Here you actually see a proper walled city. I mean, you'll see a palisade of what could have been a Yathite stronghold at one point. That part of it crumbled. And then you'll see notes of a Thoranean, kind of like a border fort attached to that. So quite literally, if you had a quilt, that it was a patchwork quilt, and then you held it up to the fortress here, it would be a patchwork fortress of a city trying to be more than it actually is, which is basically a merchant pirate city.
So the city and Binyathod's tunic have a lot in common. Gotcha.
Oh yes, the two of you could get along wonderfully.
Okay, so as he sits and he's looking up at this town and watching the men heading into town with a bit of trepidation, he's going to look over at Tarak and say, "So, how was your visit? How did you get to the priestess to where she needed to be easily?"
As you're talking to Tarak, you actually see him. He kind of he looks over the rail at the open water, and then kind of like backs away from the rail.
You see a ripple under the surface.
Yeah, don't fucking do that. He's and like when like he was kind of like in his own head for a moment. So when you speak to him, he kind of like, if an assassin could jump in surprise, that's about as close as you would see Tarak do right now. And he just, what, Ben? Oh, did we make it? Sorry. Yeah, we dropped her off. She seemed at least somewhat happier about that. And then like Tarak's like, do I just come out and tell him? Yeah, I'm just come out and tell him. So then I got basically accosted by what I think was a sea hag. At least she smelled like one. At least what I think one would smell like. And then she tossed some fish bones, said a whole bunch of really cryptic words, and Tarak would go through the majority of said augury, and like, then she just told me all this really weird cryptic crap. Things sitting in the water, look in front of us and behind us, lots of blood. I think even something there about man eating. It was weird. I didn't stick around long after that.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I mean that's usually. I mean, certainly every sailor has to face those kinds of horrors, but yeah. I mean, there are things out there that could get our ship whole if the tales I've been told are correct. So great beasts that hide in the deep waters that rise only at certain times of the year, and if you happen to be in the wrong spot, well, many a sailor goes missing over the horizon. I wouldn't worry too much about it, Tarak. It's almost like Ben was thinking back to the old tales that the sailors would tell, and truth be told, Tarak's probably heard on the evenings when after the men have gotten their basics done and the ship is trim fit and they sit around over dinner telling tales. Probably heard all kinds of manner of insanity that may or may not be true.
Right.
So he's like, that's just an old sea wife spouting stories at you. Don't worry about it. So, although he looks back over toward the mountain, or toward the island and past the town and up to that volcano, he says, "I think I've been, you there. I was told there were those flowers grow here in springs outside of the town. What do you think? Think we can make it out there tomorrow and maybe find one or two?"
I think I don't want to be here any longer than we need to be. I already know Zama doesn't want to be here any longer than he needs to be.
Yeah.
So yes, I would think us trying to get that as soon as possible, and hopefully before the greed gets us any more of these damn officials.
Yes, it's going to be.
Um,
I mean, I have that one gold coin tucked away that we're going to have to use a good chunk of it just to leave. But we also have to resupply and figure out what are we going to put anything in our hold?
yeah, well, hopefully that. Well, did that merchant you talked to say anything about bringing anything back?
He said he didn't have anything going out just at the moment, so I don't know.
So one can hope.
We can only hope, yeah. Or find something that might be of use somewhere else. I don't know enough about foraging and stuff to know what we could possibly land on one of these islands and gather. Maybe even I wouldn't even know what to do. So, I mean, we're not really rigged for any kind of livestock or anything.
Mm-mm.
So
we barely have room for the men. I don't think we have room for animals.
Agreed. So
also, I'm not cleaning that up.
No, you don't want to clean that up. Trust me, I've done it. It is not something that's something you want the least of your crew to do, or someone who's gotten in trouble.
I'm sure Manzu and Zama can figure out a couple of them.
Yeah, but hopefully we don't have to do that. We just need to find out what's cheap here. Maybe Manzu will ask some questions. If not, we can go out and do some checking in the morning. I mean, for all I know, there is something here that's almost worthless that at our next port of call is going to be actually worth some money. Were we supposed to be going to a place called Tam Hagir eventually? Isn't that where we're supposed to?
Eventually, yes.
Yeah, that's where we're eventually supposed to make our way to meet the Gorgons.
But then we also have to go to Ra to drop off Manzu. Can't forget about that either.
That is true. Yeah.
That's on the way.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So, yeah. Maybe in the morning, if Manzu's head is decently clear, we can ask him what kind of things we can do to possibly get for Ra on the way there from here that they might find valuable there. I've heard tales literally of sailors landing on deserted islands, picking up seashells and making a fortune by taking them to certain ports. You never know. So,
I will say, as we're talking, when we hit a break, Tarak will go to get a bucket of water or whatnot, and will probably shave down his beard.
Okay.
doing the Egyptian chin
Mhm.
beard.
Yeah. Actually, when Ben State sees that, he'll get his toiletry stuff and pull out his little copper knife that he uses specifically for that, sharpen it up and trim his beard up a bit. So good idea. Good for the ladies.
It's really more just to keep his fingers busy, idle hands and all
Mhm.
that.
Oh yeah, understood.
As we're talking, do we see anything out happening in the town, or just the normal carousing crowds?
Well, it's not exactly Tortuga, but
Well, no, but
someone is having a party out there.
Are there any noticeable beasts of burden?
No, actually, you do not.
Hmm.
There's no wheel ruts on the on the roads either.
Huh. They'll look at that. So, Truck, I wonder if they even have beasts of burden. They did say that merchant we spoke to earlier said that they used to have a lot of slaves, but they gave them to the cannibals, I guess. I wonder if this place mainly carried things by hand.
either that or they're too big of targets for the cannibals.
Could be.
But then again, no, because we were seeing ruts that just got filled back in over the years, over the chains.
Or abandoned carts or something. This was very much an interesting place. So, what have you heard of these white devils? Any more than I have? You ever heard any tales of them or anything? Oh, by the way, do you?
I actually don't think Turok ever really would have dealt with anything like this, would he?
No, he's never seen one. Neither of you have ever seen a white-skinned person before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is Zama on deck with us, by the way, or did he go below?
No, Zama left.
No, he went out with
yeah.
Manju to
Yeah, so
babysit
it's just
the boys.
it's basically just the two of us then. Okay.
Two of us and probably a
It's-
couple.
Well, actually, well, do you have a 12-person crew? No, there's 4 other people on the crew and on the ship with you
Okay.
because they took 8.
I'll the men who are on the I'm sure the men who are on watch are probably bored out of their skulls too. I'll just yell out to them, hey, any of you men ever dealt with these white devils before? Never heard tales of them? Or rumors?
Nope.
I wonder what brings people from so far away to a place like this.
One of them says plunder, adventure.
Could be. What I wonder what their land is like to make them so light skinned like that. I mean, I would have thought that just by I mean, I thought the sun was everywhere, but I suppose there are places his gaze does not fall upon. So, I mean, Zabraxian couldn't have been. I mean, these men look as if Zabraxian's never even seen their face.
They just shrug and they go back to what they're doing.
Okay. Yeah, once we're done, or I'm done, at least cleaning my face, he'll basically just sort of sit back again. He'll put that barrel up against the mainmast, sit back, and basically just keep watch, humming to himself. So not very well because he doesn't really sing. But
well,
he's waiting for
when they'll come back probably a couple hours before dawn. As Manzu will probably be more or less slave driving them up the gangplank there. When Zama inevitably brings up the rear, he turns to Turok if he hasn't hasn't turned in for the evening. Have you guys actually gone to bed, or are you gonna stay up all night?
Well, we do have to set a watch, so probably.
Well, you've got 4 guys
Yeah.
there.
Most likely, it would have been we would have had somebody stationed there to watch, and when they saw the men coming back, come down and wake us up.
Okay. Well,
So-
Zama meets you at the hatch, and he says, "We have a visitor."
We do.
We do.
All right.
Just one.
Well,
Okay.
introduce us.
Tarak
I'll
will
look.
go see who it is.
All right. The individual in question, obviously he's down on the dock yet. He has not come on board. He has manners. He is a very well-dressed individual don't really know how old he is. But he's clearly a mixed blood of some kind, mixed around here, not anything exotic, but he wears a not necessarily maybe say his clothes are not patchwork, but his outfit is
Okay.
like a Yathite tunic, a Thoranean sash, maybe Ignead sandals, such like, but not like unkept, not anything like. He's actually very sharply dressed. He wears a pair of bracelets that are made out of silver, and one hoop earring in one of his slightly longer oblong ears that is a hoop of gold. He has a tulwar actually hanging from a hip there, which is clearly a formidably armed individual, and a buckler on the on that same hip too. So he clearly has the swashbuckle kind of outfit and swagger to him. He has a cap, not so wide brimmed, but it has a feather of a tropical bird that you've never seen before, kind of a blaze orange, red, and gold feather that's cocked jauntily to the side, and a wide smile paints itself across his face as you essentially the lot of you line up on the railing there, and he says, "Good evening, Cog."
Good evening, visitor. Who seeks to come aboard this ship? She who runs before the waves.
I do not wish to board your vessel, but I am a messenger from Mormaz Zet, and he invites you and your officers to meet with him. Sidebar: It's 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. It's a bit of an odd hour to meet with someone for business. Would it be pleasure he's looking for?
He did not give me his confidence in that matter. He just said you were invited to meet with him and your trusted associates.
Well, I'll look over at Tarak and say quietly, "What do you think? Is Zama and Manzu of a condition to be meeting with someone at the moment, or are they deeply in their cups at this point?"
They have been drinking, but they're not obviously shit-faced.
Okay. I'll look over at the gentleman. What do you think? Would you like to go with us, or do you think you'll be better served staying here with the crew? Or would one of you like to go and the other stay?
Who are you speaking to?
Manzu and Zama.
Mm. Manzu declines, and he kind of like says under his breath, I don't like the look of this,
Okay.
but I don't think you can refuse.
Probably not. Zama, will you want to come along?
If we're gonna be knifed in a back alley, it should better be the three of us.
It is true. 3 sets of eyes are better than 2 for watching backs. All right, I'll turn around to the fellow and yell down at him. My first mate, and my captain's mate will come with you to meet with this person. Give us a moment to prepare so that we can give orders to our crew as we leave, please. And I'll turn around and sort of step back from the rail for a moment. And I'll walk over to Manzu and I'll say, keep an eye on the place. I trust you. So, and hopefully we'll come back with something, worth taking to Ra. So, or you'll have a ship either way. I'll sort of smile and wink at him. So,
Wait, hang on a second, Keith. Who did you say that to?
Manzu.
Oh, okay. He
Sort
just
of
kind of looks at you like,
It's sort of a half ha ha ha.
He kind of puts one hand up, kind of like maybe a little bit insulted, like that was not my intention when I signed on.
I'll give him a bit of a chuckle and pat him on the shoulder, and I'll say, I have no intention of forcing you to be Captain Manzu. I do fully intend to return. So
Well, may the gods see that you do.
I don't know. Maybe they will.
Shut up next time. Don't curse yourself or the crew.
Oh no, of course not.
You just did. Hush and get down there.
Fine. I'll actually go and get a bit of the salt we may have a bit left over, and toss it over my left shoulder and say a little thing to the gods to watch my back from fell luck. And then I'll go over to Tarak and Zama and say, let's go talk to this fella.
You guys exit the ship, and this individual, we're just going to call him the swashbuckler for now, since he's not given his name, has walked to the end of the dock and waits for you. He gives you a pretty respectable distance as you guys are coming down the dock, maybe like 3 abreast, and Zama like to the side out of the corner of his mouth. He's like, what's the plan here?
Well, my hope is that this fellow is going to take us to a merchant who needs something moved. If things go sour, well, we'll just have to rely on our wits and keep an eye on each other.
Well, we can only hope.
That's all we can really hope for. What do you think, Tarak? Good plan? Or do you have anything to add?
Just watch each other's backs. Tarak is once again in head on a swivel mode, by the way.
Of course. The water looks the opposite of inviting to you. It is a terrible, horrible, evil thing that hides many terrors, and you really don't like the way the seaweed just like moves beneath the surface and on top of the surface. No, we're good on. We like land. We like land a lot.
He doesn't want to make any more swimming checks anytime soon.
No, absolutely not. So you guys rejoin the swashbuckler with that wide as fuck, almost patronizing smile. He says, gentlemen, good evening. I'm so happy that you've come to join us. Follow me, please.
Okay. I'll give him a nod and a big grin myself. I'll say, thank you for inviting us.
And he leads you off into the belly of this pirate city. And the deeper you go in, the more you see it doesn't look good. Make a life force test for me, please.
Okay.
There's something about this situation that is beginning to be oppressive.
15 for me.
Okay.
21.
What's your roll, Mike?
21.
Oh, 21. Okay. And all right. Well, Ben and Zama, you both are going to take 5 temporary corruption here as the situation starts to become, we're being followed. Something is watching me, and it's not a physical thing. You know, as instinctively as you are standing on solid earth, you have air in your lungs. These are fundamental pillars of existence, but there is an other there that you don't like at all, and that sends kind of like pinpricks across your maybe your undeveloped psychic senses here.
Okay. All right.
Which, of course, has Turok probably itching toward a dagger right about now.
Right.
Yeah, Ben's gonna be he's gonna try to calm his mind a bit, maybe run through some sea shanties in his head as a form of meditation. Just sort of calm his nerves. So I don't know if he does have meditation. You mean to roll it to see if he can keep himself calm?
You're not being attacked.
No?
You don't need to save yet.
Okay, that's fine. So,
those skills function as saves. You don't use them as proactive skills.
Okay.
Now, seeing more of the city here, what I said previously about having different styles of architecture becomes pretty obvious here, and the blend of it becomes kind of assaulting on the senses here. If any of you are artistically inclined, and some things are really tacky, but it's a roof and 4 walls, so poor people tend to not balk at it. You are led down an alleyway that is almost stereotypically not a good place to be after the sun goes down. And the swashbuckler just pauses and he goes, "Right this way, gentlemen." And Zama just stops and he goes, "All right. What's this about?" The swashbuckler, "What do you mean, who's this about?" "Marmozet has requested your presence."
In an alley?
"We have to go through the alley to get to where he is."
I'll look down it a bit. What do you think, Turok? If you were leading a man to his death,
Put him in the middle.
put him in the middle?
Because if we put him in front, then he can alert them. If we put him in the back, then they get us. If he's in the middle, he gets getting one way or the other if it goes south.
"Gentlemen, I have been tasked to bring you to where the meeting place is. I am not going to harm you, and you will not be harmed on the way. Now, should you hang yourselves at this meeting with Mormazet, that is your own doing.
Of course, of course.
I have
Although
been tasked to bring you safely. I will tell you that."
Okay. Although you should understand that, obviously we do understand this, but men have to be cautious. So if you would indulge us, just walk here and I'll step ahead of him. Where do you want to be, Tarak?
Tarak will actually take point.
Okay. And then we'll put
He does not let you guys get in behind him or in front of him. He says, "Gentlemen, I do not want trouble."
neither do we.
That's why Tarak will take point.
Thus, we are trying to be gentlemanly here and put neither ourselves nor yourself in a position where we may be attacked. We are watching your back as well as you're watching ours. This is an alleyway. There could be no telling what brigands hiding in the shadows there that you may not know about.
There are no brigands in the shadows of this alley.
All right, let's just go then. No need to belabor this.
Fine. Yeah. We'll walk however he chooses for us to walk then, but we'll keep our eyes on a swivel.
He smiles at you rather sardonically and he says, "Good, come along.
Okay.
If you would like to chat as we walk, you can make the time go quicker for us."
I think that would be the case. So tell us about this fellow, Marmozet, you say his name is?
Mormaz-Zet.
Mormazet. Okay. I've not heard of him, so that may be
Probably good that you haven't.
well, I have now, so either way. What does you say he did not tell you what he wanted us for? Is he a man of note in the city by chance? Or what can you tell me of him?
I can tell you he is a man not to be trifled with, and you did not have a choice in not attending this meeting.
Okay. See some kind of lord in the town, then I would assume.
There is a kind of nobility about him, yes.
I'll look over at Tarak with that with sort of a kind of a knowing look.
Zama just says, "Shit."
I'll look back at him with almost an apology on my face for bringing him along. But yeah, well, we of course don't want trouble, nor do we wish to linger in this town for very long. So
how are you liking your docking taxes? He just interrupts you.
I absolutely hate them.
You and every other merchant here, we're working on that.
Yeah, so I've been told. We had a meal with the merchant last night, actually, who extolled upon those taxes and such.
There are a few.
Yeah. There also doesn't seem to be very much goods going out of the city that I've seen.
No, not that you have seen. No.
I take it that there's I can think of a number of course, this is pure speculation on my part.
I like that backpedal, Keith.
This is pure speculation on my part. But I believe your lord may be needing to have things removed from this location and taken to another location, probably without too many eyes being upon them. I'm okay with that. Just so you know.
I'm going to let him do the talking on that.
Okay. I'm also going to look at Zama when I say that and see what his reaction is to that.
He makes a point of not looking at you with either of his eyes.
Okay. So, all right.
So, you've been walking and talking this whole time, obviously. So imagine a montage of alleys. You now have no idea where the hell you guys are. You walk past what seems to be a brothel of some kind. And a couple scantily clad ladies with their with a bit of their skirt hitched up on their thigh. One of them kind of reaches out to the swashbuckler, and she says, "Oh, when are you going to come back and see me?" He says, "Not tonight, my dear, not tonight." And you actually see he doesn't fucking stop to do anything, but make me an awareness test. All three of you. I'll move for Zama.
Awareness.
Actually, Keith, you want to roll for Zama? He's got a +3.
Sure. I'll roll for him +3 awareness.
He's kind of a pseudo party member.
He got a total of an 8.
Oh, he's not paying attention. He doesn't want to. Well,
Yeah.
you'll
I got
see.
an 11. So
Oh, for fuck's sake! Come on, Mike.
I got a 20. Apparently, my dice want to explode tonight.
All right,
yeah, this
Tarak, you notice that this swashbuckler, he you obviously saw his lift there, but he pressed about 4 gold coins in this girl's hand as he walked by. Didn't even fucking look at her. He says, "Oh, not tonight, dear." His money was passed, and she just drops her skirt and then like waits for you guys to pass. And if you actually kind of like over your shoulder, maybe covertly look, she's gonna like, "Ooh, money,"
Right.
and then it's just like she goes
Whereas-
inside.
Yep.
He
Whereas
gets
the old
to clock out for the night.
Right, yeah.
A fucking thing now.
As the old song goes, face the wall, my darling, as the gentlemen go by.
Right? But
If you've not heard the song, look it up. The
I'll have
gentleman
to.
song is beautiful. It's beautiful.
I'll have to look that up later tonight. Anyway,
Yeah.
but no, you guys walk by and Zama says, "What was that all about?" And the swashbuckler just throws a smile over his shoulder. She's just a friend. Ha 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 ha. And he turns down another alleyway. He goes,
Rock
"All
just
right."
look at Zama and just go like this.
He's like, "Oh, damn. She certainly was pretty." He goes down that he turns you guys into another alleyway and he goes, "I promise this is the last one." You go to the back and there's there's stairway going down into what would be kind of like what would you assume to be like a dugout, like a wine cellar type thing down there. He knocks on the door. It was this she's not a bronze door. That's a really fucking expensive door. Excuse me. It is a heavy timber door with bronze fittings.
Okay.
And he taps on one of the nails with the pommel of his tulwar, and a slot opens, and he says to the doorman, "In the reign of the pharaoh Hotep, there was a sun god named Anunu." And then you actually hear a rasp, actually a few rasps of blades leaving scabbards behind that door. And he shoots a look up to you three, and Zama just looks like, "Oh, fuck." I'm like, that's the expression on his face, like, "Oh, this guy's gonna fuck us." But he doesn't say anything, but his hand is on his long knife at that point.
Yeah. Let's say Ben's hand will probably be on the pommel of his short blade. Yes. Not drawn, but just on it.
Rock's got 2 daggers like palmed like up his sleeves.
Right? About to fucking throw down. Clearly, there's shit going on here that you don't know about that needs a password to get through. But the swashbuckler just holds up a finger.
Mm-hmm.
He holds up a finger, and the doorman says, "Ananunu sang the song of the Black Lotus in the green streams of the Tamazgir. Gives the second part of the poem, and then the swashbuckler taps 3 times on one nail and once on another, and the door opens. You see 12 guys down there, armed to the fucking teeth. They see him, they look up, they see you, and they put their weapons away and they step aside for you.
Okay. Ben will take his hand from his hilt and probably noticeably relax a little bit at that, almost as if it was meant to be seen. So, and he'll look at the swashbuckler and sort of nod in almost in thanks, as if it were, but also sort of proceed.
As you guys descend down into this this cellar, and they close the door behind you and lock it, and the swashbuckler says, security needs to be quite tight in these odd times, as you can see.
So do you feel the threat of the white devils? Is that what's caused this to be this way, or is this just normal?
What do you mean white devil? You mean the traders from Felport? No.
Okay.
It's not about them.
I've been told they can be free with collecting crew.
Who told you that?
Oh, a merchant here and there, a couple of sailors.
You don't believe everything you hear on the waves, kid.
Of course not. You believe only half, and that half you need to verify. So,
the doormen go back and sit on their benches there. The swashbuckler leads you through. Now you'd see the wine cellar is much larger than the building that it should encompass. Nah, this thing is huge. You can only assume that you've crossed maybe a block or 3 by the time you get to a nice, very nicely appointed door. And the swashbuckler knocks again 3 times and then kicks the bottom of the door with his boot. An elderly gentleman's voice from within says, "Come." He opens the door and he says, "Mormazet will see you now." He opens the door for you and motions you to enter.
No, Ben will bow to him and say, "Thank you for safely delivering us to your lord," and we'll step into the room.
What you see is a very lavish office, of all things. An elderly Yathite. If he is around the same age as Manzu, he has aged very gracefully. He's younger looking than he is, but clearly he carries the age and experience of a man of that age, or maybe slightly older. There's a collection of books and clay tablets, weapons, and paintings on the walls from great and ancient places. There is a woman sitting on a cushion who is not very well clothed, but she is perfect in every way. I will say one thing, though. To Ben, she is wearing very gauzy silks that do not hide any of her at all. But to your eyes, she is wearing something like the color green.
Okay.
To Zama's eyes, she is wearing a red. And to Tarak's eyes, she is wearing yellow.
Okay.
Her
Obviously,
outfit is very her
Iridescent
No,
or oddly colored? Okay.
no, you see that color.
Ah, okay. Well, Ben then will be obviously his eyes will be drawn to her, and he'll take in the sight and remember it himself. Turn back to his host, and once his other two men are in, he'll give him a deep bow.
He Mormazet is standing behind the desk, looking over what looks to be a map, and he says, "Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Captain of the ship, she who runs before the wind. I see that you've only been in town for a day now,
That is correct, sir.
and you moved linens for the merchant on Caperca and Hanaptra. Is that true?"
That is correct. Yes.
That's what I thought.
Delivered safely and within the time frame we agreed. So, yes, we do. We are legitimate merchants, if you will.
Keep it that way. You don't want to associate with unsavory individuals. He still hasn't looked up from his table at you.
Okay. I kind of look at the other two in our group, and he'll actually do the nervous scratching of his hand that he does. He says, "That is very good advice, sir. We have been summoned. What do you need of me and my men?"
I think you need something from me. I am known as the helper.
Ah,
I help merchants go about their business in an expeditious and safe fashion.
mhm. Ben nods. He says, "Forgive me for not recognizing that fact, sir. It is my first time in this port."
I see. How do you like our silvery visitors?
They do give me a bit of a worry. Maybe it's as some old sailors say, just the sight of something exotic, but something about them, well, they're large.
They're very tall for their people, yes.
Yes. And the local ladies seem to enjoy them quite well.
Oh, they do, and sometimes we have a few bastards come along some months later that they don't last long.
A shame.
One of them comes out a little bit paler than the rest of the litter, and they get bullied until, well, either they run away or accidents happen.
They do. So yes, you are correct in that I could use your aid in assisting other merchants in moving their merchandise. I do have an empty hold and eager crew.
Where to?
Our next port of call was to be Ra.
Oh, I see. He now finally looks up from his table, and he says, amber eyes look upon you with almost a burning there that's kind of like, there's a little bit more in that look than him just regarding you, taking you three in. You'll have to do a favor for me then.
And what favor do you need, sir? Good sir.
There is a group of individuals that are interrupting one of my sea lanes. that I need them removed.
And I myself and my fellow friend Tarak here are we've had experience with that kind of thing a bit. My crew are primarily just sailors. I mean, are you wishing us to go and do battle on the waves?
No. I'm wanting you to remove a threat to trade all around these islands.
And what is that threat?
There seems to be a spirit that is haunting a reef that is drawing ships in and is making a lair out of these half-drowned hulks.
A spirit. Shouldn't you call a priest for that? I think priests primarily deal with spirits. I don't have much experience with it, I'm afraid.
I have called you three.
But what good will blades do against a spirit? That is, I mean, do you... Basically, Ben has a very confused look on his face about, like, it's obvious he's not sure what he can do about a spirit.
And it's pretty obvious that
Yeah.
Mormaz does not care.
Okay, I'll look at Tarak with a sort of confused, like, what do you think? I mean,
Well, we go check it out, and worst case scenario is it's actually a spirit that we can't do anything about. Best case scenario is it's something that looks like a spirit but is actually killable or at least approachable. Either way, and he's not being loud about it, but he's also there's no sense of being quiet about it. It's like, but either way, we don't really have a choice.
it is true.
And at the very least, maybe we could see if the priestess wants to go assist.
Possibly. I have a feeling, though, that we'll need to go and see what this thing is before she'll agree. We can always ask, though. How soon do you need this spirit dealt with, sir?
You have 3 days.
3 days. And how far away is this reef?
Not 4. It's on the other side of Soltage from here.
Quick sail around the island, anchor offshore.
For a skilled captain, yes.
Uh,
That was kind of a covert dig.
Ben sort of like goes, yeah, okay. I think we will go and see about dealing with this. So, and then what is the what cargo will this get us to going to Ra? I'll need
Talk
the
about
men
that when the task is done.
as you wish. Well, Tarak, shall we take the ship, or do you think we should go across land since it's just outside the island? How big? Obviously, Ben has no idea how big this island is. Is it a small island, or is it a larger island? Is it a couple-hour hike to the side of the island, or is it a multi-day one?
From the coast, from the sea, looking at the island, it seemed pretty sizable.
Okay.
The jungle seems pretty dense beyond the city and what you could see from the ship there.
We were told that right outside the city is where the cannibals were supposed to be, so we probably don't want to walk anyway.
True.
Yeah,
True.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I get the feeling being expeditious and efficient is kind of on the menu. So taking the ship would probably be the best course.
That's true.
That is a wise choice, gentlemen.
I think we'll do that. Yes. Might I beg one indulgence from you? Just a bit of information, nothing substantial.
narrows his eyes at you.
Are there by chance any springs on that side of the island where a certain blue lotus that might bloom?
What require you of a blue lotus?
An oath. To bring such a plant to a fellow who I wronged, and his niece was laid low for it. He needs it for her funeral rites.
Strange people with their blue flowers. Now,
Yes.
springs and mountain rivers have blue lotus blossoms.
Okay. Then I may, in the course of this path, visit one of those on the way. We need water anyway, so put on our ship. So I will. We'll set sail as the tide goes out tomorrow, and if the gods favor us, return successfully, having dealt with this spirit for you.
Good.
How do I contact you upon my return?
My messenger will be meeting with you.
Very well. Well, thank you for the opportunity, sir. And he'll bow deeply.
He calls the name Nazir, and the door opens, and the swashbuckler pokes his head around the door. He says, "Oh yes, sir." He's like, "Bring these people back to their ship." "Oh, they've taken the job. Oh, good."
Yes, we have, good Vizier. Ben will smile and bow to him as well. I have full confidence in his capabilities of doing so.
So on the way, well, we'll actually have a scene back up topside on the streets, and now the swashbuckler named Nazir brings you past the brothel out into the streets, and we'll have a scene there if you wish.
Mhm.
Walking and talking, of course.
As we exit the area there and start heading back, Ben will sort of all jauntily is walking beside Nazir, and he'll say, "The name Nazir, does that have any kind of a ring to me? Is it like is that a Thoranean name? Is it a Hittite name I've heard before? Or is it utterly foreign to me?"
It seems very old-fashioned.
Okay. Nazir, that is an old name. Not heard it's like.
It's not likely that you would hear it.
Has a nice ring to it, though. But of course, I won't spread it around. I know how important names can be to some cultures. My own mother told me never to reveal my actual name to any spirit, so I'll keep it for my tongue.
Good. Unless you want the djinn to come after you.
No, not at all. They can stay far away. So, your
It's
master.
Unfortunate you saw there was one in the room with you.
I did notice that she was a bit odd. That shade that she was wearing, I think it was a shade of green. Actually, can even recall the actual shade of clothing she was wearing at all?
It's
I thought
just
she was
a
wearing yellow.
green, yeah. Her outfit changes depending on who's looking at her.
Oh, wonderful magic! He'll do a little sign to ward off bad luck. Just some, superstitious thing. You don't by chance know of this spirit we're going to apparently slay or drive off, do you? Or what do you know of it? What have people have said about it? Survivors of these shipwrecks, I'm assuming there have been some.
There's only one. And he was half mad when he got back, half drowned, and the crabs tried to eat him. So he was in a very bad way.
Did he survive long at all, or
No, he passed. He went into the underworld shortly after that. He just told us there was a spirit making a lair out of some ships, and they were drawn into this reef. The reef tore their ship to pieces, and there was that.
Wonderful.
I'm also supposed to give you this, and he gives you the map of the area how to get there. Probably the
okay. Something to add to our yeah. something to add to our collection of maps and whatnot. Okay, he'll look at it. What's it written in?
Yaith. Most of the people that you actually you encounter here are Yaith.
He'll look at it, nod, and sort of show it over to Tarak. To obviously I can't. Yeah, I'll hand it over to him. Thank you for that, sir. Good sir. How boisterous is this the docks at the moment? Because I'm sure it's getting close to dawn.
The city is starting to wake up.
Okay. I was hoping we might be able to find an untended little boat along the way. So since we need a launch. But I don't know. But yeah, we'll any thoughts you might have, Tarak, about this thing, or any questions you may have about it? I'm sure our new friend here may or may not know about.
No, because we won't know till it's there, because as you said before, only believe half of what you hear and verify the rest.
True. And if he was mad, we might get there and find some lair of pirates with a gaudily decorated boat, for all we know. Or some, giant crab or whatnot. We never know. I don't know. Actually, as we're walking along, I was going to say if there are any pubs along the way, I might slip inside to grab a pint to go, possibly, because I haven't drank anything myself yet. But if not, then that's neither here nor there. So
he returns you to your ship just as dawn basically crests the horizon there.
Okay, come aboard. I'll look at whoever happens to be the officer of the watch, as it was. I'm assuming most likely that Manzu's probably in bed.
Oh yeah, he's been asleep for hours.
Okay, I'll go tell the when the watch, I'll say, give them a couple more hours, and then we'll raise the crew. We're leaving port today. We have a place to go, not far.
Are we paying to leave? Zama says we're still landlocked.
We are, but well, that is a good question. I'll at least pay the men what they're owed this morning. They did promise them they would have their pay the next day. And see if any want to go along. And then that is a good question.
Because we still need our writ from the dock official, otherwise we can't come back. They'll sink us.
Very true.
Zama, do you know another way to get across the island and back in 3 days then?
Not without being ate.
That's
shit out
the situation we're at.
Otherwise, we can only hope that this man is going to reimburse us appropriately, which, with the way our luck has been, I'm not holding my breath.
True.
I think this Mormaz, and this is Zama talking, I think this Mormaz has a hand in at least some of that money that is being, I'll say it, extorted out of the captains here.
I think so. Yes, I think what I may do is head over to the dock master's office or whatever he happens to have for that. Let him know that I intend to sail to the side of the island to deal with a matter for Mormazet and see what he says.
Do you think that's wise?
No,
Well,
I also don't think it wise for us to leave without paying, and the coffers are getting quite thin.
Or you could always ask them if there is a charge for leaving and coming back within the next day or two.
Or
I'm willing to
staying
bet
near
the
the
answer is
island.
going to be yes, but there's always a
course.
chance it's not.
Yeah, yeah.
Otherwise, tell them that we were
Mhm.
given a job that affects the health of the docks and the city, and see if that changes their tone.
That's true. So this is why I keep you around, Truck. You have good ideas. That and you watch my back and keep me alive. And Ben will sort of give a little chuckle at that. Shall the two of us go then? And see what we can work out with these fellows.
I suppose.
All right. Well, let him sleep for another hour. I'll tell the fellow who's on watch. And then well actually hell, I'm sitting here right here at the moment. I'll look over at Zama and I'll say, give him an hour and then we'll wake everyone up and get ready to sail with the tide. We'll go deal with this thing.
all right.
If we don't come back, well,
I guess Monzu has a ship then.
or
Is that how it is?
or you. I mean,
I
Ben sort of chuckles at that. He says, now I have to say it every time, then otherwise it's a curse. So, all right. So
I'm glad there's a line of succession on this ship. He just his one eye just kind of like really shifty, like I really don't know how to process that.
Yeah. Ben
This is
will
a
sort of
fucking
chuckle.
weird crew. Okay.
Ben will sort of chuckle and say, did you expect anything else?
I
Probably.
didn't know what to expect.
Then again, in the back of his head, he's probably thinking, I could sell this and get a lot of opium.
Yeah. He could retire here.
Yep.
But anyway,
Anyway.
yeah.
There's a
Right.
few opium dens.
Yeah,
Right.
probably couldn't afford to leave anyway. So down the plank we go and headed to find whoever it is we're supposed to talk to about leaving the ship, leaving the dock.
Well, there will be a dock office there.
Okay.
We reconvene at the dock office.
I will.
You see the pompous official there behind his desk. He has a few guards with him. There's a few clerks counting all that money.
Oh, I'm sure. So I'll come in smiling, beatifious. What the frick is the word I'm looking for?
Beautifully.
Beautifiously. And he come up and say, good sir. Hope you had a good evening last night.
We had a nice evening. Yes. The foreigners will be leaving today.
Mayhap they will bring good trade and fair winds to them. I intend to leave myself this morning or this day on the tide on business that will not take me from the island. Actually, I'm to sail to the other side of the island and investigate an affair which apparently is causing issues with trade here.
That is your business. We only deal with those leaving and entering the port.
So
Do you have your coinage?
I do have some coinage. But I mean, it doesn't matter. He'll reach in and he'll pull out a single gold coin.
Oh,
He'll say, I wish
his
the
eyes
proper
light up
amount-
at that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this isn't all for you, sir. I wish my change. I was told 25 silver coins to leave.
That was to dock.
I was told also it was 25 to leave.
No, you are informed wrong.
And how much is it to leave?
35.
Why?
The port needs to be maintained.
Okay. I'll lean over to the fellow, and I'm still smiling, but I'm going to get a little bit closer, and I'll say, "You know, this is just advice from one man to another.
Are you threatening
meaning-
me, sir?
Not meaning any harm, no threat meant, sir. Just friendly advice, if you will. These merchants are beginning to be very upset with this. And as I said, I have been asked by a personage of this island to deal with an issue of trade, ships coming in and out of the port, as you said, which is, of course, your business.
He just looks at you.
Me dealing with us dealing with this will make you more money in the long run. And I would consider it a kindness and put in a good word to these people and tell them of your fairness and your nobility if you were to accept the 25. Shall I make a persuade check, sir? Or
He just looks at you with this doesn't really have a care in the world type of expression and says, the charge is 35. Good sir.
I will put the coin on his whatever he's using for a desk, slide it forward, and says, I will be counting my change, sir. And may I have your name?
You may not,
Why not?
because I do not deal with small-time merchants. You have no business knowing my name. Pay your bills. Here is your writ. Get out.
Okay. I will count the change, coming back to silver. So, does he try to cheat me at all?
No,
Okay.
he's very, despite being an asshole, he's doing it very much by the book here, regardless
Okay.
of how much the book is a piece of shit. But
Yeah. The book he just wrote just now.
yeah,
Yeah, obviously. At seeing the gold, he raised the price. I'm surprised it wasn't 1 gold. Okay. As we leave out, I'll once we leave the office, I'll kind of lean over to Rock and say, how much does it cost to off something like that? To remove it? Just sort of almost like an offhand, sort of a comment with a smile to it.
I get the feeling a bunch of people here would do it for free.
That's possible. I wonder how much it would cost to have him put behind an oar on that ship leaving today.
Oh, he won't last a day anyway.
No, he wouldn't. Of course not. But we can dream, can't we? We can dream. Yeah, head back to this ship. Oh. And yeah, guess what you said, sell at the tides.
and off you go.
Mm-hmm.
Now then, so the weather for today is excellent sailing weather. There's a nice wind. There is, I would say it is a inner world. If this was actually a planet, a sphere, it would be like a northeasterly wind. So it's the inner and then off center angled wind. Since our Lunar is actually a disk, carries you straight out of of the harbor there, you are met by the war galley, which is basically the security for the harbor. You flash them your writ. Well, they hail you. You guys do obviously the boarding and the meeting. A couple or 4 officers are on your deck, your deck, and you do the whole writ thing. Well, we have our clearance, we have this, that, and the other thing. No, you don't have a freight, but you will be returning. And the officer, which is probably something like a lesser naval type position, he's essentially an ununiformed sailor who's been given this position. There's no like formal military here, but he's just basically a well-dressed pirate who knows what the fuck he's doing.
Yeah.
And he hands the writ back to you with his own signature on it to make sure everything's official. And he goes, you realize it's going to be 25 to get back in, right?
I know. I very much know.
You guys even see any of that?
Yeah.
You see any of what?
The money. I think you're usually paid very generously for what you do here.
Well, he kind of like stutters a bit. And he's like, well, we're paid, yes.
I would think you'd be paid very handsomely for the amount that they're charging. 25 in, 35 out.
He charged you 35 to get out.
Of course he did.
For the safety of the docks.
For the safety of the docks, yes.
And the upkeep of the docks. Are you telling me you're not seeing any of this?
He laughs uproariously at you. He says, oh no.
And here we are trying to preserve the sea lanes around this island by dealing with some thing that seems to be wrecking ships on the other side of this place.
Oh, you're actually talking about the haunted shore, are you? Don't go there. No.
Oh, I have no choice.
He says goodbye. It was nice meeting you.
Tell you what, we make it back. You pay our docking fee. Half the docking fee.
Actually, I'll tell you this.
Hang on. Just wait. I'm rolling for his reaction. I'm just gonna look. So a couple of the other like lieutenants around here are like,
what? You don't think we're gonna make it back? We make it back. This ship makes it back.
Floating. It has to be floating.
Intact.
Well, of course.
Full of living people.
Put your own restrictions on yourselves, gentlemen. It doesn't bother me any. But to answer your question, yes, we are paid.
Okay. Well, I would hope you be paid very handsomely for what they're charging. So, I mean, especially having to deal with, and are we still basically within sight of the port?
You're like
from here,
like an eighth of a mile from the nearest beach. Like you see it, you can see still people on the shore.
Yeah. So I'll point back at the big galley that's sitting there, the big white devil galley. Especially having to deal with those guys.
Oh, they pay in gold.
Well, how much of that did you get?
A few.
Very nice then.
It pays for myself, my children, and all 3 of my wives. They have very nice gowns now.
Well, hopefully, if we are successful at this, you'll have more ships coming in, and you'll be getting more money.
Well, we can only hope, so don't die out there.
Of course not.
But you're on half. You guys come back half.
Done.
All right.
And we'll shake on it. I'll put
luck.
my hand out. Yeah. To rock as well. Okay. Thank you. And may the gods watch over you as well.
They with leaving that scene, they get the fuck off of your ship, and a couple of the sailors are like, well, what was that about? And he basically gives them the gist, and they're like, well, they're gonna die.
Okay.
A couple of the sailors saying, well,
Yeah.
shit.
I'll look at my sailors. I'll say, don't worry. The contract we have is that you all will not have to do any fighting. Don't worry. All you have to do is sit and watch. Okay.
Oh.
Unless you volunteer.
And all of them not being fighters,
Right.
they're like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
Everyone's now looking at Monza going, all right, it's his ships now. since Ben's gonna fucking die in a few hours.
Well.
Maybe it's
But-
kind of like cruelly endearing that they're very loyal sailors, but now they're like, oh, okay, they're already trying to adjust themselves emotionally to the loss.
Now, what I would
thanks,
like you men
guys,
to
thank
do
you.
is while we're doing this on the far side of the island, obviously someone needs to keep an eye out for any natives in the area, but I would like to send parties ashore to gather water and such from springs and whatever kind of fruit or such we could possibly forage for ourselves. Replenish our stores, as it were.
None of them know how to forage.
Okay.
They wouldn't know a mango
Not e-
from a banana.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. They know how to get water, though, right?
They know what water is, of course.
Obviously,
Fresh water.
Get some fresh water at least. Yeah. And if you happen to see a pig or something like that, and that you can get lucky and bring it on board, and make sure the cook knows what to. I'm sure the cook knows what to do with the animal. So
Right.
Cook it. So
it comes up in conversation that Zama knows how to forage.
Well, Zama,
Of course he does.
would you like to take a small party of men on shore to deal with that while we're dealing with this other thing?
And no, the rest of the lads would just get in my way.
As it were. So
to the far side of the island we go,
Okay.
gentlemen.
I mean, on
Sail,
the bright side,
sail.
if we do die, they at least get to come back with only half the field.
that's true. Because they'll be coming back. Didn't say we had to come back, just the ship.
Oh yeah. the crew with people on it,
Yes. Not once do we mention me or Derek as being coming back. That's correct. So, all right.
Basically, you're just making it an easy time for them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. Hey,
Pay that
Gotta-
kindness forward, gentlemen. Pay that.
Oh,
forward.
yeah. Oh, I mean,
So,
speaking of which, I'll make sure the men get their pay.
oh yeah, no, they're quite happy and quite willing to put a skip in their stride now.
Mhm.
So,
They're also on the boat, so and we've left port.
sometime later that evening, after the sun goes down, you guys get to roughly in the vicinity of where this map that Nazir had given you. You're not obviously right on top of it. You're not going to sail right in there and get yourselves killed, but you get maybe a few miles away, and you start even in the gloom there. You kind of start to see some of what these ship wreckages would be, and you compare this the crude map that you'd been given to your rudders, and there's actually quite a few reefs here, quite a few, and your rudders around this island say just to stay the hell away, because it's a lot of it within the maze is pretty uncharted. So the foreign pilot said just go around it, don't go through it. But you do see the tactical advantage of a lot of, say, smuggling ships making their way through here to save time and stay out of the eyes of possibly larger patrol ships that would be more aligned with the law, so to speak. So with here, I will let you guys take over. You're not quite in danger yet, but you have the ability to enter the basically this next scene with some preparation.
What we'll probably do then, since you said it, if we get there about sundown or after dark, we'll probably anchor before we go in so we can actually see what we're doing. We
Right?
don't want to go into reefs in the dark.
No.
But yeah, I'll fill them in on what we intend to do. Me and Tarak are going to go in and investigate this area and see what's causing the issue and hopefully eliminate it, so that we might be able to get a good cargo to Ra. And I'll specifically because I'll make sure that Manzu knows, yeah, that is literally what we're wanting to do. The hope is that if we don't come back, which we do intend fully to do, that with the foraging, you guys might have enough provisions to get somewhere, maybe other than this horrid place, maybe even to Ra. But the hope is we come back, we get our cargo, and we all make money in the end. So
That is the hope.
I did promise to pay you the amount that I did, and I did deliver on that, and I intend to continue doing so. So I'll, that night we'll have what provisions we happen to have made up for a dinner. Have a bit of a maybe have. I'm sure we do our basic little entertainment thing for the night because we're not really at sea, so you don't have as much busy going back and forth, and it's not so much a big deal if some guys get a little tipsy on some whatever grog we have left.
You guys will then deplete the grog that you have.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, it's all gone now.
With the hopes that we're going to come back and get some more before we leave for Ra. So, and yeah, Ben is going to make sure his few weapons he carries are sharpened and cleaned. Break out his leathers, make sure they're properly cleaned up and ready to go, and put them on.
How many of y'all wear armor?
I just have leather and trappings.
Yep, I just have leathers because I don't normally wear them at sea because there's no point. So that's why I'm specifically putting them on.
So you're both wearing armor. That's what
at this point, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. For any swimming tests, you guys will be taking a penalty. Keep that in mind.
Yep. Yep. I have that worked into my little sheet here. So yeah. So the next morning, we're going to try to make our way slowly into this area of reefs to a place we can anchor and maybe get a view of the place.
Okay. You guys will be able to anchor off on I was about to say a sandbar. It's a sandbar that connects to the rest of the beach, so like a hook. That where it's deep enough for the cog to actually get up near close to it, so it's maybe like
a natural harbor, basically, type thing.
Not even that.
Okay.
It's not deep enough for that. You obviously you'd exit the ship where it's more like hip deep water and then tread water all the way up.
Okay. Before I actually get off the ship, I'm climbing the mast to get a look around.
Okay.
See what I can see from up there. So
just basically a maze of wooded, obviously with palms, sandbars.
I'm looking to see if I see like this. They mentioned something was building a home or a lair out of old ships. Do I see any of that out there? Maybe
you see about 24 half-sunk ships that are stuck into the various rocky shoals and reefs there.
Okay,
that's kind of dominates the area there.
Okay, I'll come down and mention that to Turok. Yeah, there seems to be a bunch of ships over there, and maybe that's where we need to go look. So, and then
Sure.
let's do it. Over the edge of the ship we'll go, down into the water and up on the sandbar. Walk our way in.
Yeah. You could, yeah, from the sandbar, actually walk. You'll actually connect to the mainland there, and then you can walk along the beach all the way around to actually get yourself all the way out there. It's the safest route to get there.
So,
You'll be slightly wet by the time you get there,
Yeah.
but it's going to be quite moist, quite soggy this whole time because there's next to no
Yeah.
dry land
Yeah.
out here.
and yeah, probably almost no dry air either. This is an island. Okay. Just yeah. Said we'll just make our way among the trees and whatnot. Probably have my blade out once we're away from the ship. You know.
There's a point out there.
Mhm.
You going through the palms, through the many wooded sandbars there, to get out to these reefs that kind of like are half hidden. You're getting closer to these ships, and you begin to hear singing.
Okay.
Now you may make a meditation test.
Okay. $26.
Okay.
18.
It is very hauntingly beautiful. You can't tell the sex of the voice, but it dawns on you now. This is the lure. How do you wish to proceed?
Does it remind me of the singing from Anoptera of the sirens?
Similar, but it's a different pitch and maybe even a different language.
Okay. Well, in that case, we're going to have to be quiet about our approach. But yeah, I'm going to try to seek out this singing.
Okay. You get out there in a not like into the reefs and the shoals there. You're going to have swimming from here on out. Climbing and kind of scrabbling over all these rocks and attempting not to get cut to pieces by the reef flora and fauna.
Mhm.
How do you wish to proceed from here?
Well, as I said, does it seem to be coming from further out towards the sea, or is it? I mean,
It's coming from within this graveyard of ships.
okay. What do you think, Truck? How would you approach this?
Like Turok looks at the water like I really don't want to go in there.
Okay.
But he also knows that's probably going to be the easiest way to go about it.
Are these shipwrecks close enough together where we could like go like say almost deck hopping?
No. They would not be that close, no.
Okay.
There will be swimming required in this.
That's right.
essentially.
That's fine. So I'm basically Ben's looking for the least contact possible with the reef itself is what he's thinking more than anything else. So like if we can swim to a wreck and use that to get so far, then swim to the next one.
Well, you could do that.
Yeah.
You certainly absolutely could do that.
Yeah,
not-
we'll have to do that then.
But not ship to
Yeah.
ship.
Yeah,
There's going to be swimming and scrabbling and climbing
That's-
between them. But
That is definitely understood. Okay. So I guess we'll find the nearest ship and that we can get to with the least amount of swing possible. So
Keith, do you have the TV on in the background over there?
Oh, I think Melissa does. Give me a second. I'll close the door.
Okay.
I didn't realize it was that easy, that noticeable.
I don't know if Mike can hear it because I can.
Okay, let me close the door. So
I could not personally know.
Yeah.
No, you can't hear it. Okay.
there we go. Okay, that should take care of that. So
Okay.
So yeah.
Do you guys enter the water here?
Well,
Are
I
we
mean,
close, are we close enough to a ship to try to jump over to it, or
Now you're gonna have to swim there.
okay.
then I guess we're going to have to touch the water here.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
I'm trying to make sure you guys know like where and how we're getting out
Yeah.
there. There's
Yeah.
unfortunately with this particular wreck, you can't just like walk out along the rocks to climb up it.
Okay.
Uh
So we're gonna have to swim to it. Are there any fallen? Is there any driftwood, like pieces of planking or such, that's washed up here that we could I could get for Turok to help him float out to it?
is there? No, of course not.
Okay. Well,
Of course not.
we're gonna do it the old-fashioned way, my friend.
All right.
You
So-
do have grades in swim, correct?
I do.
Oh yes.
Okay, good. All right, make me swimming tests here.
All right. I believe I have a -2 with the armor, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So
For leather armor, it's -2.
yeah.
That's still a 19.
Hey, that's all we want.
Right.
Now let
I got
me.
a 16 this time.
I'm actually going to check because I've got the conditions of the sea
Okay.
in my notes here. Let me, because I know there's a chart for that. Oh, well, hell, why is there? Okay, I guess some of my my bookmarks that I have in the guidebook are not showing up on docs anymore. Okay, so salt water. Okay, the it's not stormy seas right now, but obviously it would be in between rough and actually, you know what? I'm just gonna keep it with rough. That's difficulty 14. So you guys do make it out there.
Okay.
Saltwater in rough seas, and I'm only saying that it's rough because there's the current coming off of the deep, and you have these shoals and these ships, and it's kind of like trying to splash and spray through all of these. So there are currents, there are eddies. It's going to be a little tad bit difficult to get out there, but nevertheless, with those skill tests, it kind of sucks getting out there. But you can stow your weapons, tie them down onto yourselves a little bit tighter, and get out to that first wreck. Once you guys get out there to mount this ship, I am going to need athletics tests, please, because it is going to be kind of slick. And it's going to suck. It's going to be a lot of suck. Okay, just plain and simple.
That's a 27 for me that time. I
Nice.
had a dice explode twice.
18.
Okay. Now, yeah, no, you guys don't fall back into the drink, but these ships have been here for some time. There is a well decomposed and a crab mutilated corpse on this deck that shoots a terror into the sailor's heart, because all sailors are petrified of a death at sea.
Yeah, of course. So now that we've arrived at the ship, are there any boards we could pry loose to assist ourselves with the next swim?
You certainly could, but that's not
Okay.
going to give you a skill bonus at all.
Oh, okay. Well, this time might at least be a flotation device was the idea. Okay. Well, now with this perspective on the ship, we'll look around and see, do we see anything that might indicate where this voice is coming from?
Not on this wreck. The haunting voice still comes. Strangely enough, it is at a pitch that is just higher than the lapping waves and sometimes seems to harmonize with it and
Okay.
begins to make you feel a tad bit drowsy.
Oh, wonderful.
Keith, I need you to make me a conditioning test after
Conditioning.
some time here. Well, tell me your result and I'll tell you the rest.
$17.
Okay. It's been a while since you got hurt,
Mm-hmm.
but with all of the things that you've been through for the past few days, some of the experiences have been quite harrowing. Some of the experiences have been quite stressful. You start to feel really whipped. Like
Okay.
you don't feel good anymore.
Okay.
You woke up this morning feeling, oh, we can go out. It's going to be a good day. But now, ew.
I'll find a place to sit down for a moment, and I'll Tarak, hold on a moment. I need to catch my breath. So, and he'll sit down for a moment, and he'll actually, take a few breaths, try to shake his head, try to get rid of this tiredness, rub his eyes a bit.
You will, for a few moments, you'll actually take. Oh, you're going to sit down for a few moments, but with that save, you're going to take 2 grades of exhaustion here.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's not great right now.
Okay. Yeah, he's gonna look up with very, very weary eyes at Tarak, and he's like, "That should not have taken that much out of me. That swim, but oh Lord, it did."
Tarak he'll just sit down pretty much next to him just in case anything else goes on.
Look up at he's gonna look up over this ship to all the other ships out there. And how far is it to the next ship?
There is do you want it in yards? What
I mean, just a general idea. Is it like a short distance, a long distance?
It's a moderate distance.
Okay.
It seems farther in your state.
Yeah, obviously. He's like, he'll shake his head. I'm not sure I can make it to the next ship.
Then I don't know what to do because this is kind of the only way to get there.
I know. I'll have to make it.
Otherwise, what am I going to do? Get a plank and find some ratty rope and try to pull it? No, we're not going to do that.
I don't think that would work anyway, my friend.
And I am not good enough with a bow to be able to shoot anything across.
Can I get an awareness test from Tarak, please?
Yeah. It'll be 22.
Okay. You see out of the corner of your eye, and you swear this by all of the gods to be invented in the future who are currently seeing over the world and that have died in the past. You see a kind of like a blue purple arm, a blue purple snaking tendril come, like almost like it's looking for something. But when you see it, sloop.
Where? Okay, did I see it like coming up onto the ship, or kind of like sticking it like out of the water,
On
Or was it
like on the ship,
like
almost like
feeling around the rail type of thing?
like a almost like a tentacular appendage,
Um,
touching almost like a tongue or a tentacle. Your character has absolutely no idea what an octopus would be,
right,
but
right.
but there's something
I am going to.
serpentine
I am
feeling
going
around.
to. He will try to hoist Ben over to another section to rest at.
Mhm.
Okay. What's going on as he gets up? Well,
I saw. I think I saw something.
what did you see?
It's like blue. It looked almost like the end of a snake,
Hmm.
and it like padded, and then it went back under. Like it left again. Like
You've also
don't know.
noticed that the singing has stopped.
So you think you saw something? I mean, the way the sunlight glances off the waters, it could have been anything. Could it have been a rope that broke? And
But I wasn't looking at the water.
Okay. Ben's
Like
gonna
it was like, and he'll actually point to like the section of the ship, and like he saw it touch, like it was there.
Ben will take a look over there. Does he see it? Is there anything on the rail or anything that
No,
maybe? Okay.
no, not at all.
Wonderful. Well, I mean, we can wait. The
You
singing
hear that?
stopped.
You hear that witch's voice, that sea hag's voice in your mind, Tarak. Something in the water. Something in the water.
Damn black abyss.
The thing in the water.
Actually, on this deck, is this? I mean, has anything actually disturbed this ship? As in, like stripped it or anything like that, or are there like coils of like rotting rope and things like that still here and there?
Has it been ransacked at all? Like
Yeah.
looted by intelligent sentient things that would find
Right.
value in that sort of thing? Not in the way that you would see signs of pillage. No, things have been dislodged from where they're supposed to be.
Okay.
But you don't really like this would be a fantastic place to salvage because they look like fresh wrecks, but they're not. There's barnacles, there is signs of rot, there is signs of mold everywhere.
It looks
These
like
have been here for quite some time.
Quite a long time. Okay. Well, yeah, I was thinking that he might be able to find like a pole or something like that they would use to push off from the docks and whatnot, and maybe I don't know, use it almost like tie something off at the end and sort of reach it over the edge of the rail to see if he could incite some kind of an action in case there is something off the side of the boat, some weird sea creature, or some predator there or whatever. Basically, he's thinking well, fish will go for bait. So anything like that he can find?
Not as such there, but the singing does start again.
Wonderful. Okay.
He's still going to try to move Ben if we didn't get the move yet.
Okay.
Especially if he's still feeling exhausted.
Okay. Here's what Ben's going to do. He's going to try something real quick.
Oh no.
Well, he's
going to try something. Goddamn.
He has a ball of twine he keeps with him to practice his knot tying.
Okay.
And he has his bone sail needle that he pretty much keeps with him all the time. So he's going to tie that off to the end of his twine. I'm thinking he has like maybe 15 feet of twine,
Right.
maybe. And he is going to cut off a little piece of cloth at the bottom of his tunic, just like a little 6-inch long piece, and tie it to that, almost like you would think of a lure, something to be visually seen. And he's gonna walk over and toss that over the edge of the boat on the side that Tarak was saying he saw something. Just see if anything reacts to it. See if it gets grabbed by a big fish or something like that. You never know.
You don't think you see anything.
Okay.
Obviously, there's fish down there in the water. The water is quite clear, but there's nothing.
Okay.
Nothing that you'd be looking for with that purpose. No.
Okay. He'll do it for a bit, then pull it back up. We're worth a try. Oh, but man, it's tiring. He'll turn back to Tarak and say, "So I guess will you keep moving? Start his singing again. How far does it think it's getting closer to singing, or is it further away, or is it hard to say?
You can't actually tell amongst the din of the waves and the ship's creaking and such. Another maybe spooky point to point out here is there's no seagulls mewing overhead. There is no, aside from like the fishes and stuff like that beneath the wave. You are the only two living things up here.
Well,
because that's not disconcerting.
A bit, yeah. Well, I guess we'll make our way to the closest point we can before we have to go to the next land point, either a reef or a ship, preferably a ship. But if we have to like swim to a reef and rest for a moment and then swim to the next ship, we can just look for something like that, so to make it a little bit less exhausting, as it were.
Okay. As luck would have it, or anti-luck would have it, the next closest would be a reef that you'd walk along to get to the wreck of a galley that's much larger, much more impressive. Let's continue with that there.
Okay. Yeah, we'll head that way, which means a swim check. And
swim
see,
test,
2 grades.
yes. 2 grades of exhaustion, yes.
Yeah. Remind me what the negative is for 2 grades of exhaustion.
2 grades is -4 to athletics, and I say -4 to skills. No, with a skill penalty. Yeah, no, it's just a -4 for you.
Okay.
I know you did say that there was some driftwood that wouldn't give a skill bonus.
Right.
But seeing as exhausted as Ben is, Tarak will grab some anyway.
Okay.
That way he at least has something to grab a hold of.
Okay.
With that full minus, it's still an 18 though.
Oh,
I got a 17, so
yeah.
Okay. So long as we keep it above a 14, we're fine.
Yeah.
Because a 14 means we're drowning.
Mm-hmm.
Our head is below the waves here, so no, you guys get it's not a great time slogging, but you guys get to the rocks there, and these rocks are barely above the water line, and it's about half sandy, half rocks, and you're stumbling through the reef there in maybe a foot deep water, so you're not even on dry land yet. It takes some time to get to that next ship, maybe like a 5-10 minute walk. Which probably turns into about 30 minutes because you're stumbling and you're exhausted. You guys get to that galley, you climb on board, and thank fuck we made it.
Lay on the deck and probably look at the sky, gasping for breath.
And it's at this point where let's say Ben climbs up the ship first, and Tarak is slowly coming up behind, but something touches your calf, your left fucking leg. Something.
Matter to rocks or both.
Tarak.
Okay.
He's still in the water, climbing out of the water, and something
okay.
touches you. It is muscular and cold.
And I'm assuming because it's the reefs and the rocks, I can't see down there.
You've been turning up sand, so it's a tad bit murky, which is again even more disconcerting.
Right.
I need you to make another life force test, sir.
Oh, thank God for this one exploding today.
Oh, come on now. Help. All right. What is
Okay, it's okay. It's spirit or what's the bonus modifier for that one again?
Spirit.
Spirit. So that's gonna be a 23 actually.
Nice. That thing touched you. Let me before I continue, there actually might be another roll in here. Is Tarak wearing pants? And what, or is he wearing shorts? What is he wearing? And you describe your character quick like for us in this scene.
Right. Well, I assume way back in the desert, it probably would have been pants because you don't want sand getting into places it's not supposed to be.
Yep.
Being on the ship for as long as he was, and also just, small repairs and tattered clothes. I assume he's probably torn off sections of the pants.
Okay.
So they're probably more, they probably are more like shorts or capris by this point.
Right. Okay. Oh, fuck. Okay, so you've got exposed skin. God damn it. Make me a conditioning test.
That's the way it probably would have went.
Play your character. It's fine. This might suck, Keith.
Yeah, I probably could have met it and said, oh, no, he's wearing pants because then they could tear off. No, we're not fucking doing that.
Yep, I appreciate the honesty, but...
You said conditioning, though?
Yes. Consult my notes to see.
19. This 19? One's been exploding almost every single roll, which has been nice.
I've got to get.
As soon as he feels it touch him, though, he will yell out for Ben.
What?
And even though him and Ben haven't known each other long or exceptionally well, he will hear fear in Tarak's voice.
Yeah,
something he hasn't heard much of except when he was swimming.
Yeah, exactly.
What was that conditioning test? You said, I think it was 19.
19? Yeah, 19.
Okay. Something stings you. And it hurts real fucking bad for a few moments, and then your leg goes numb. And from that, obviously, you shoot your ass up the side of that boat. And you
Ben will help grab him and pull him up if possible.
He probably passes you, but no. Anyway, you guys are probably you guys are both on that boat, and on his left calf on the outside, there is a black, blue, red, purple sting mark that it starts to fester very fucking quickly.
He's going to do apothecary on himself and then use one of his poultices.
Do it.
Because I don't know what the fuck else to do.
Do you still have the aloe treated bandages from the earlier in the game, early in the campaign?
Would they have went bad?
Oh, I don't think the bandages would have.
Because I said it's been
a while.
It's been like 5 months in game time since he got those. So
Yeah.
I don't think so.
okay,
They're bandages.
then no, he would still have them unless he needed to use them. So
They're a bit salty now because of the water, but you know,
well,
hey.
yeah. They're still usable.
Yep. That'll give you +2 to your apothecary to stabilize yourself and clean out that wound. Go for it. Yeah, hey Ben, that doesn't look right. That doesn't. That looks like some shit right there. And you're glad it's not you.
Agreed.
Very glad it's not you.
That is some bullshit, and we're not getting back in the goddamn water. Is what we're doing.
No.
So let's see. So that's going to be a whopping 27.
Okay. Well, you're able to clean it best you can. You can have a brief soliloquy on there if should you wish to.
Now, just to do player knowledge, I'm assuming this is essentially a jellyfish sting.
Oh,
as
really
the
fucking
player.
bad one.
Right.
But like jellyfish on fucking roids and PCP and
Right.
worse.
So yeah,
But you know how jellyfish are obviously jellies? This was
muscular and solid
muscular
and
rope-like.
but yeah, so
I'll let you go take away with that.
yeah, so after essentially Turok screaming like a little girl for a second when he gets grabbed by this thing. Because I'll be honest, I don't care how tough you are, something like that happens, you're probably gonna scream like a little girl.
Right.
I don't care who the fuck you think you are. You're gonna scream. And then like after he actually gets stung, he will probably let out a string of curse words that would make a sailor blush as he goes shooting up this ship. I will say, while he is actually like getting up onto the ship, he will probably have that adrenal gland pumping, and he probably won't actually feel the numbness in his leg until after he gets up, and then the shock is going to wear off, and he's probably going to topple over if he wasn't already on hands and knees, as that leg refuses to hold him up anymore.
Yep.
So he will go crashing down from that. As soon as he does that, his brain will kind of like instantly kick over to survival mode. And he will, if he's not already close to one, he will drag himself over to the closest wall, preferably not a railing, because he doesn't want his back to the water right now. But if he has to, he will, but he prefer to do up against like the wall to the cabin or to the mast or whatnot. He will not be able to talk if Ben asks him a question at the moment. But he will immediately go into instinctual mode and grab one of his poultices. And is it starting to like swell and pus at all, or is it just really gnarly looking?
It's not pussing. It's super red, and like the contact where the thing had touched you is actually turned black. Like 3rd degree burn, melted skin black.
Okay. Well, the reason I was asking about pus is because he actually would grab a dagger and pop a blister or where the pus was, but no, he will just.
If you want to, I can describe that for you.
No,
we're good.
We can go around that. That's okay. I'm just saying, for theater of the mind, he would have.
Yep.
If there was a boil there, he would
lance it.
Pop it for the he would lance it for the infection stuff. Yeah. So yeah, no, he'll wrap those alloy bandages and his poultice and wherever else he needs to do. And then finally trigger that he can't feel his leg. Like he's doing this, right? Like he wrapping the shit out of his leg, and it triggers in his mind of why am I not, I can't feel this.
Right now, after your test was made, there is a patch, kind of like a long, narrow patch, almost like a not teardrop shape, but like egg shaped patch from on your outer leg on your calf that stretches from your ankle bone to about where like your kneecap meets the tibia there. That like all of the red and black area is what's numb. On the other side of the calf, you can actually feel that, but it's like pins and needles. Like it wants to fucking go dead, but knee down, it's pretty bad. Knee up, you're all right for now.
So like the pinpricks are kind of like when your foot falls asleep when you're waking it back up type of feeling.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me back up into Rock's history for a moment then.
Right.
Being in the desert and dealing with the creatures there.
Yep.
Would he have dealt with the creature that made his leg numb before?
Nope. I don't know if any scorpion or spider venom species that would make shit go numb.
So
Or
his
snake.
leg going numb like this would be an entirely novel experience.
I would think so, yes.
Okay. So yeah, so he'll patch it up and he'll realize he can't feel that part. And then like in like the weird macabre explorer type of way, he'll actually start like pressing on it. Like if it hurts, he's gonna stop, but he'll like, I can't feel that. That kind of hurts on the other side where it pinpricks. I can't feel this.
When you press like around like the wound, like some oily, dark, black, brown shit seeps out of the wound there.
Oh, so he does have the lancet?
Oh, it might do, but it doesn't have the consistency of like pus. It has the consistency of tar.
Okay, is it coming out of just like where the hole was where he got stung at?
Yeah,
Like,
but it's
like
a line.
So is it coming out of the entire line?
Yes.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
It's like seeping out of there, man.
Ben, if you are watching him at this point, you will actually see him grab one of his daggers.
Oh yeah, I am. So
and you, God, this could be like some just weird fucked up shit. But he's still too much in instinct mode to actually speak to you.
Mhm.
But you will actually see him. He will press.
Mhm.
And he'll actually press all the way down his leg and actually see if it comes out the entire line. Like he's going to be like super like surgical about this. And then he actually will squeeze and he's going to see if it actually opens up anywhere.
Okay.
Or if it comes out more in one spot versus another.
Okay. It comes out mostly in the center, but as you're kind of pressing down that line, there are these about an 1.5 inch long black needles that like come out with the tar.
Oh, what the fuck?
There's like 10 of them on there. And they just like they come out like in the tar. And Ben, I'm pretty sure Ben's gonna retch here in a moment.
Yeah, probably.
Ben, make a conditioning test to hold on to your lunch.
How many of those
12?
alloy bandages?
Oh no,
did
sorry,
I-
10.
Oh yeah. Up you go.
Minus 2 for exhaustion.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Narrator, how many
Yes.
of those alloy bandages did I have? Do you remember?
Aloe, you had 6.
6 of them. I don't think I used any beforehand.
I don't believe you did, but you're probably gonna use quite a bit of them to clean this horror up.
Well, what he's going to do is when he sees these needles, he's actually going to grab another one of those bandages and use it basically with his hand to take them out and like put up to the side. Yeah. Keep in mind, and I can roll another conditioning check if you really want me to, but the only reason he is probably not throwing up is one, he's in full apothecary instinct mode, and two, it's probably that weird, well, this fucking hurts, but I've never seen these things before, and it's really kind of
it's
cool.
the morbid fascination of the
Yeah.
situation.
So his brain isn't comprehending, oh, I have to puke right now. But yeah, no, Tarak will actually, he will continue to squeeze and pull. He will use one of his knives if he has to, like, slide one of the needles out, like slide it through the sludge and get it out that way. If at any point though, which I know this is probably going to happen, if at any point though, the flow does get caught up and he starts to see like a boil come up, he will immediately lance that shit.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but yeah, for the most part, as soon as Ben can get his guts about him and look at Tarak will be with morbid surgical precision, basically trying to not make this any worse. Meanwhile, in the back of his mind, he's thinking, "I do not want to get back in this god-forsaken water ever again."
It's remind me, what time of day was it? Did you guys actually wait until on the next day, or it was actually,
yeah, it was next morning.
On the next
It
morning.
was next morning. Yeah, we spent the night before
Okay.
we actually,
because we didn't want to go into the reefs at night.
Oh yeah. So Ben, make me an awareness test.
All right, awareness. Back over to my sheet here. Awareness. 8. That's going to be an 18.
Okay. You see a group of individuals leave the jungle in kind of a troop there, and these individuals are, I will describe them as half men.
Okay.
They are to describe them, they are swarthy, kind of like hunched over, and they're armed with obviously stone spears, maybe like wood and maybe stone or shell tipped arrowheads. These are very quite a primitive people in grass clothes and such like, and they are they're coming out of the tree line here in the jungle underbrush. They don't, you don't think they see you, but you are in an elevated, advantageous position actually to keep a very good eye on them. And they're very cautious. They are coming down to the water line to check what, there's actually fish traps here that you do now see when they walk over to them. They bring them out. There's crabs, one of which has a stingray that was caught in it, and they're very cautious of these people do not get into the water. And one of them seems to be like a bone and seashell clad shaman with body paint around them. He gets close enough to the water to where you actually see much of his features. Imagine a human-like thing that had devolved into a barely human representation of a savage, hardly capable of human speech. Put those things into your mind. How can earthly words describe such an atavism? But the thing stands there before you in the flesh, and it has a symbol in like clay or maybe some like blue pigment. It's got this this image painted on his chest, and it's got like why he's quite swarth, he's quite dark, so the colors actually stand out in contrast. He's got like in the center of his chest like almost like a mushroom cap type half half circle with these purple squiggling lines coming off, and black sharp jets coming off between the squiggling lines, but and around it it's painted like this kind of like this white clay taupe nimbus, and on this is almost like a heraldry of something
Right.
that he wears on his chest, and he's chanting something in what barely passes for probably a language for these guys, and he's got like a shell shaker that he's trying to basically to possibly call something or to appease something, and the singing isn't here. You don't hear the singing aside from the racket this poor devil is making. As Taraki, this is now obviously come to your perception as you press down on more of this wound, and a crap comes out of it. There's a purple undulating thing that snakes its way out of the water, out of the surf there, and it kind of like slowly going towards this group of people, and Tarak, you look up with the fucking horror of this thing, and you're like, oh, that's the fucking thing that I saw. And Ben, your eyes are glued to this shaman, and then there's this purple thing coming out of the water. And I'll go for soliloquies here. Tarak, do you wanna describe the tension that you're feeling right now?
Okay. Just to make sure I can do this properly, he's still getting shit out of his leg. Yes, like there's still
Yes.
the tar and the needles coming out, or is it just tar now?
It's about 18 of these needle-like things have been like are now in your little pile over there, but it's mostly tar now, and the shit keeps going and going. Like, where the fuck is this coming from? And it's like kind of bubbling and and so no, if you keep at it for a little bit longer, it might come out clean, but no, your attention is diverted between these two tasks. You're going,
Yeah.
so by all means, continue.
No. So yeah. Essentially, what happens when he gets the last needle out, and it's just the tar for the time being. That's when his brain will probably calm down enough for him to actually notice this other shit. He won't even really. He'll notice that the singing stopped, but it won't trigger in his mind. Like it's just like, oh, it stopped again. Actually, hold on, we'll backtrack. Actually, it will trigger in his mind because they all fuck. It stopped again. Last time it stopped, this fucking thing came out. He probably won't hear the natives though as much because his brain won't be focused on them. But yeah, when he sees the slithering thing again, he still isn't fully capable of thought other than the fact of he'll probably point toward it, and he'll probably make, I don't even know what sound he would make other than it might just sound like a grunt to Ben.
Some strangled that thing.
Like ah, like like as like Neanderthal as it sounds, that's probably how he would be. And he would probably watch in eldritch horror as this thing goes slithering along. That will probably be the only time that he will not be actively pressing on this wound. He might still like reflexively keep at it while he's there, which may or may not have the tar touch his fingers. I don't know. Because he'll be looking at it like kind of with one hand, and with the other hand, he's still kind of like squeezing. But yeah, Trock doesn't like the water. He doesn't like whatever the hell this thing is. He wonders what the hell could have put this much crap into his leg after like 5 seconds of exposure.
Yep.
To be meta for a moment and deal with the movie reminds me of the scene from Hellboy where he gets stung by the one dude and gets like 4 eggs stuck in his arm after like one sting.
I wasn't gonna go that far. No.
Right, but that's what, like, he literally got touched one time for like less than 10 seconds. Has had a whole bunch of shit in his arm. Like, that's just what it made me think of. But yeah, Turok is not in a good headspace right now, at all. Like, part of his mind's thinking, I'm just gonna fucking die here. Watch. I'm not gonna make that bet with that guy now. No wonder he told us to stay away. Like, that's like the furthest reaches of like his cognitive state. But right now he's just like, I'm boned. I'm just boned by all the deities. I'm boned.
So Ben, the
Yeah.
superstitious sailor with a very not pleasant past,
Mm-hmm.
let us see what's in his mind.
As Ben rises up after emptying his stomach of any breakfast he happened to have remaining after seeing this horrible thing with Turok, his bleary eyes are drawn to the shore where he hears that rattling of the seashells and the odd chanting, and he sees this group there. His immediate first thought is, oh no, it's the cannibals, because he's been told of them, and he thinks maybe they've seen them and they've come to in some way fetch their dinner. And as they begin drawing things from the sea, he realizes, oh, they may not have seen me now, and he sort of ducks down a bit with the hopes of not being seen, but at the same time still seeing what's going on. When that sinuous thing creeps from the water, his first thought is it must be some type of serpent. But then he sees no eyes nor a mouth as this eldritch thing dances in front of this group, seeming to creep forward, searching, not with the searching that he's used to seeing of an eye, but the feel of some thing. And he realizes that this spirit that they have been sent to deal with isn't going to be some group of pirates or some maybe a sea hag, if that might be the case, maybe some wretched being that has made a deal with the deeps to bring ruin upon those who sail by for their malicious entertainment, but something truly unknowable. His mind can't comprehend at first what he sees. But then his eyes is drawn to this shaman and the thing on his chest. And he has seen these creatures that float around the water with out in the ocean with the tentacles. He knows when they sting you, it burns like fire. And his eyes look to Turok's leg, looks at this thing into Turok's leg, and his mind makes a leap, if you will, whether it be deserve it or not, that if that is one of the tentacles of one of these floating things, well, first, he's never seen one actually seek something out. But if that is the size of that thing, he thinks to himself, this entire reef may be this creature. And he looks down at his short blade that's been strapped into its sheath at his hip, and his mind thinks of how small that is compared to that thing on the shore. And he'll actually fall down to his knees as he looks, because in his tired state, a bit of despair begins to creep in, and he thinks to himself, how are we going to deal with this? We know if this is some kind of massive creature, I mean, our blades would be like mere pinpricks to it. He has nothing to, at this point, he thinks to himself, he has nothing to take back. There's no way that he can destroy this thing with what he has. And he'll actually put his head in his hands with a bit of despair, and he'll take a breath for a moment and look up at the sky, and he'll say in his native language, what have I been brought to? How will I fulfill this oath? How will I pass into the afterlife and be able to tell my ancestors that I did what I promised to do? And his mind will just begin seeking for various answers, but grasping at nothing but darkness and wisps.
As that oppressive horror comes in upon you, you start to feel claustrophobic. You start to feel isolated. Your ship is nearby. You do have companions, but somehow in this state, the presence of this thing pushes all of that away, and you all will take on 1 point of permanent corruption. And from here, we will close the curtains on tonight's session, and hopefully within the next couple weeks we will find a solution to what sea horror that has come to haunt the shallow shorelines of the Isle of Sultage. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. We will be back later for session 6 of Sha'ir's poem. Good night, all.
Good night.